G'day everyone and welcome to another episode of Bushcraft and Camping Adventures. My name is Craig and let me tell you, stick structures everywhere. Everywhere. I've returned to my Yowie habituation site and I've expanded my search a little bit beyond where I've gone before, and I have found stick structures everywhere. So this video is definitely going to lead with those. But it's not just the stick structures. As per usual with the new format of the channel, when I go camping, I'm recording a separate Yowie video. So this is the Yowie video. So we're going to recap, cover off, and mention, and show, and all that good stuff, all the stuff that went down that went into a little bit of the Yowie category. But we're definitely going to start with these stick structures because they are plentiful and I've never seen them before. So it's really, really cool. I'm not sure if they're new. I'm not sure about that. But they're around and I'm going to show you right now. So hold on tight. Here we go. As I walk up to the structures that I'm talking about, I just wanted to mention a couple of things. So you just saw the gifting tree. There's been no movement there. I just cleared the leaves away to make it easy to see. So that's that. Nothing special there. Now, I'm not going to give all the information on this just yet. I want to tease it a little bit. But let's just say a friend of mine is an energy healer and I spoke to her and she's, without giving too much information away, because as I say, I am holding on to this. This is just a teaser to let you know why I'm back out here. Long story short, she's communicated with the Yowie. And I've got some really good information back on that. And I'm super excited to debut that video, to make that video and put that information out there to you. But I'm saving that for the start of the new channel. So that ain't coming at you yet. But I've come back out here because I want to make sure, it only happened last night. Now I'll give you one little piece of info. Let's just say the Yowies in the area are now aware of my presence. So we may get some increased visitation tonight, today. We may get some more checking out, testing the waters. So I just wanted to let that be known. Now, that's done. Keep an eye out for that. Don't forget, the new channel will be launching very shortly. I'm going to be announcing the channel name very shortly. Everything's going to start happening very quickly now. So it's definitely at a point in time where I may start holding out on content, as you just saw, to launch it into the new channel instead of onto the Bushcraft and Camping Adventures channel. So everything's coming. Keep your eyes on the channel. Keep your ears open. Keep your eyes on the Facebook. When the launch comes, you're going to know it. And we'll just leave that there. But don't forget, new channel coming. Yowie and paranormal type stuff channel coming. Bushcraft and Camping Adventures being kept pure just for Bushcraft and Camping Adventures. So those who don't want to watch the weird stuff don't have to. What an idea. Okay, so there was one particular tree that got my attention as far as the structures go. And it turns out this isn't a structure. It's nothing. But I just want to take you through the little journey that I had. Sorry if I'm not looking at the camera. I've got to keep my eyes down. This is just a little journey I had to discover all these structures. So this tree right here. Okay, obviously it piqued my interest because it was wedged between two trees and I thought, wow, that's significant. But if we look up here, it used to be part of this tree and it's fallen. So there's no Yowie structure to do with this, but this is what started my little discovery. So there is the broken tree and there is where it came from. So there can be no doubt these two trees belong together. There's nothing Yowie about that. So I noticed this over here. Again, not Yowie, but just taking you through the little journey that I went on. It's a termite mound. It's been completely topped. I'm not even sure how that would happen. So I saw that and I just thought again, I would just show you. And then my eyes went this way. And this is a really, really interesting structure right here. So I went down and I saw this. That's a lot of debris. It's a lot of debris. Look at this. I'm not quite sure about that. Interesting. Worth showing. But let's go through and show you this. And all the way up there, it is a forked branch sitting in a fork of a tree, sitting down here, and the interesting part comes when you get down to the base of it. It's a living tree, and it's been bent to fit into that, and you can almost argue that's a tripod at the top. Almost. It's not quite though. So that's interesting. That seems to be some kind of structure. There's trees leaning quite a lot in this general area as well. I can see 1, 2, 3. It's a really interesting little spot. You can read into this as much as you want. You can read into this as little as you want. That's up to you. I'm presenting things to you. We know that there's theories about this with Yowies. We know that. There's nothing new about that, that they do things to trees and sticks and they arrange them in certain ways. There's a theory that's out there. I'm just showing you. I'm just showing you. And remember, all these things are in a very small area. And I'm not seeing them out in other areas. They seem to be concentrated right here, beautifully, right next to where I camp. So I'm just showing you and leaving it at that. It's not proof, it's probably just scratching the surface of evidence. Come on. Don't be a stranger. He's checking me out. He's like, what the hell is this dude doing talking to himself? And despite my looking, I can't find the next, I found a teepee. There was just basically a teepee where a little tiny teepee, where a whole bunch of sticks were sticking out of basically one plant growing in the ground. So there was that, but I can't find it now. And the other problem is that near that site was a significant amount of tree breaks. A whole bunch of trees, 8 to 10 feet up in the air, just snapped in half. With no bloody reason for it. Man, where is it? Okay, we're gonna have to get about the TP, but let's have a look what I've just found here. Now that is a thick, healthy tree right there. Snapped in two, absolutely snapped in two. That could be wind, but interestingly, another one right next to it, a little bit higher up. This is what those other tree breaks were like. They were just like this. And there was a whole bunch of them. Wow, this video is going to need to be pretty heavily edited. I'm just wandering around with my camera at this point, looking for stuff. It makes for amazing YouTube, amazing. Another tree leaner there. But let's not get too excited about the leaners because they could very easily be natural. Very easily. Now what's this over here? Holy crap. Look at that. That's classic Yowie, man. The problem is that often when you see these bundling of sticks, that all the sticks are the same. Now these are the same type of sticks, but they don't look the same. But that's really interesting. I've never noticed that before. That could be new. And I've been through this area before. That's really interesting. That's really interesting. But I now know where I am. Doesn't mean I'm going to be able to find the teepee. But I know where I am. At least I'm not lost. This area, very, very interesting. 1 tree break, 2 tree breaks, 3 tree breaks, 4 tree breaks, 5, 6, 7 tree breaks. And whoa, look at that, right ahead of us. Right ahead of us, an X. Okay, so I found the little mini teepee that I was referencing, and now that I'm here, it's not that impressive. So it definitely wasn't worth finding. There's this which is a little strange. A big chunk of sticks. Up to a bent down, bent over branch, but yet none of the other branches on this tree are bent over. Now, if that was a log or something natural, you would assume all these other branches would have copped it too, unless they weren't grown yet. But again, evidence of something, perhaps. Evidence of nothing, perhaps. Now, I could be showing you leaners and these kind of things all day. There's more there. There's stuff everywhere here. Right, look at this. Another one of those sticks in the ground. Another leaner. Alright, but there's one particular thing that I really want to show you. Probably the best tree break I've found. Full stop. Look at this bad boy. Twist, break. And that's a big tree. Have a look at that. Twist, break. A healthy tree, no sign of termites or anything that could rot it out. And look how it's fallen. Straight in between another tree. It's a quality break. That's an absolutely quality tree break. So we've got a lot of tree breaks. We've got a couple of teepees. We've got a lot of leaners. We've got this for one of the best tree breaks I've ever seen. Around the area where I found everything else. It's in the same area where I found everything that I've ever found in this area before. It's all here. The teepee, the Asterixes, everything. It's all in this area. Interesting, huh? Interesting. As I usually say, interesting. You come to your own conclusions about what you think this all means. I'm saying there's a pattern developing in this area. Hopefully they come out and give us a visit. Something that comes up a lot in my videos is people timestamping me of certain things that they see in the video and certain things that they think I should go back and double check sounds, sites, etc, etc. So I just wanted to say I want everyone to continue doing that. Get involved. Don't assume someone else has seen it. Don't assume I've seen something and dismiss something. If you see something in the video, if give me a timestamp and point it out. But it's made me look around as I stand here, talking to your beautiful faces. It's made me look around and try and find where people would on video say, oh look, there's a possible Yowie in the background, you know, blending in, so on and so forth. The same way that I saw the mound in the other video recently, it could have been something blending into the background. So it's made me look around at that line where the foreground becomes the background, if that makes sense, and try and see blemishes and blurs that you can mistake for a Yowie. And I got to be honest with you, I see things, right, that on video people might think, I might think, is something standing in the background. But when I'm using my eyes, I don't see anything. There's always a tree, there's always an explanation, a dead fern, something, there's always an explanation. So I'm not sure how useful using the camera as a means to detect, this is the point of saying this, using the camera as the only tool to detect a faraway object is probably a bad idea. Because I'm here seeing the faraway object and I can tell you that's just a darker type of foliage. That's just a blackened stump. That's the base of a huge tree. So I can tell you. This camera can't tell you. So as a research community, we got to think twice, I reckon, before we jump to any assumptions with these things. Because as I look around, there's a lot of blemishes and none of them are anything out of the ordinary. It's a flawed system of evidence, I think, is what I'm trying to say. But in saying that, it's still worth pointing them out. So we should point them out, but not put any great weight into them. That's what I reckon. Always be aware, document. That's something that Johnny's told me. Always document. Doesn't matter, just document things. You may get a puzzle piece to a different puzzle. It might not be our puzzle, but it might be a puzzle piece. So just document everything, and what you end up with is what you end up with. So yeah. It's all going nicely here. You know, off camera before, and it means nothing because it was off camera. So it doesn't matter what I say now, people, I mean, you guys have no reason to believe what I'm going to say, so it is what it is. But off camera before, I'm pretty sure there was some kind of distant communication being heard, maybe a vocalization. It was a series of woo, 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 kind of sounds like that. And at one point, see, something that people talk about, whereas something happens and you don't realize it in the moment that you just didn't pick up a camera and record it, even though there's one in your pocket. And you just do something, and then you realize, oh, I just did that and I just didn't feel compelled to pick up. Now then, it's just all come flooding back to me now. This is really weird. Getting all dry mouth. Yeah, it's like it's not like I didn't know this thing happened, but it's like I wasn't giving it any focus for some reason. And now it's just kind of hit me again, and I'm like, oh, that did happen. Why didn't I? My lack of action is weird. It felt natural at the time. Anyway, so what happened was I was hearing these calls and they had stopped. And I did a woo back and then got a return. And then did a woo back and then got a return. I did it 3 times. And returned the call each time, and then I stopped and it stopped. Could totally be a coincidence. It doesn't mean I was communicating with a Yowie, but it is something. It's something I communicated with something at a distance, and given what I said about the communication last night, which we'll get into on another video, I'm just saying. Very interesting anyway. structures everywhere continues. We just saw that double X, and now we get a return, we get an update. Do you remember the Asterix that I found on the floor? I wrote it off as coincidence. Other people said no, it was something. If you don't remember, let me show you. That right there. Okay, so that is supposedly a thing that is done. Now, if we just do a little casual walk. Well, isn't that a dainty dish to set before the king? There's the double X right there. There's the double Asterix right there. Double toil and trouble. And this is from the first Asterix, you go all the way to the end. 1, 2, 3, it's triple. And both Asterixes, the top spike meets up right here, over this spot. That in itself is surrounded in a triangle. So there's symmetry here. I don't know if it's the stick equivalent of pareidolia though, where enough sticks fall on the ground and you notice a pattern. But it's here. So I'm going to try and take a step back here. I'm going to show again the enhanced version of the double cross, and I will try and get a shot now of this double Asterix with the triangle. Hopefully that worked and you saw it. Pretty cool. I'm going to keep looking around this very area. Well, there's something I just noticed that's interesting. When I'm standing between the double X's and the double Asterix, there's the double Asterix, and if I turn around, there's the double X's. If I can get the right angle here, you can see the triple X. X, X, that's resting all the way up against the tree, and behind X. 1, 2, 3 X's in that arrangement. Two Asterixes in that arrangement. What's the one? 3, 2, 1. What's the one? Could be that tree break. I mean, that tree break almost. The tree break, I'll show you, I'll play the footage over this to remind you I played it earlier. That tree break almost points to it. It goes tree break, right, points to tripod. Oh, that's the one, the tripod. And then to two Asterixes, the triangle Asterix, and then to triple X. 1, 2, 3. See, I told you, man, structures everywhere. You know what I might have to do? I might have to start mapping this place out. I'm going to make an attempt of it. I'm going to try and map it out.